Alright guys, today I'm going to be going over straight Achilles locks, toe holds, and knee bars. First I'm going to touch upon Achilles locks. This is a technique that I think is grossly underused. And I think it's underused so much because people tend to think it's a big guy move. You have to be strong to do it, which is very, very far from the truth. There are a few things that we must have in order to get an effective Achilles lock. The thing about these three techniques is, very similar to the heel hook. It's the great equalizer, right? We could find ourselves getting to the leg lock position, to the Achilles lock position, knee bar, toe hold position on a higher level belt, where it's kind of hard if we're a blue belt, purple belt, to get an arm lock on a black belt, right? But getting to the legs, since it is half of the body, it is easy. But the thing is, what do we do once we get there? Achilles locks are legal in IBJJF, as well as all submission events where other leg locks are not always legal. I see very often a huge problem when people go for Achilles locks, because I think the biggest problem that people are having when they're going for Achilles, they're doing for it in the 50-50, right? So what I mean by that is they'll be in this position here, right? And their legs will be across. Let me go the other way, actually. Actually, not the 50-50, but ashigrami position, where my legs are to the outside. Okay, and now from here, I'm leaning back and I'm trying to crank the Achilles lock to where I have no leverage in this. Okay, and if you look at my hand positioning is off. There's two basic ways I go for Achilles as far as positioning is concerned. All right, that's either a high Achilles lock, which I tend to stay right underneath the calf, or a very low Achilles, which is just breaking the foot. The high Achilles it feels like your shin is going to completely break in half. Well, I feel it can. Like people who say, oh, Achilles lock is just pain, they're wrong. Like you can get your leg broken in half from an Achilles lock if it's done the proper way. It's not just pain. I've seen people's legs get broken. I've been responsible, unfortunately, for a few injuries with the Achilles. It is a very, very dangerous technique. The first thing I'm doing wrong in this position, if I was to look for an Achilles, is I have no leverage. Okay, like in everything in jiu-jitsu, we need leverage. We need to have the proper positioning. Okay, and in this position here, I'm basically cranking on a foot with no power. So the first thing I try to do anytime I get in position to look for an Achilles is I'm going to try to get my feet to my partner's hip. All right, put one foot over the other. Okay, so I'm going to catch this. My foot is going to come on my partner's hip. Now, it might seem like this is a little loose because there's some space in between my partner's leg and my leg, right? Especially if you're taller than your opponent, it's a little difficult. The Achilles lock is one of the leg locks you don't necessarily need to have the knee line in order. Okay, so even if his knee line is out, all right, and I'm able to get to the Achilles, I can still get the Achilles lock. Preferably though, I want to come as high as I possibly can to my partner. All right, so I want to try to get my hips above the knee line. My feet are going to come to the hip. Now, we have to think about a lot of jiu-jitsu is common sense. Okay, if I'm looking to get a break on someone and I'm looking to use my arm to do so, am I going to use the dull point of my arm or the sharp point? Huge mistake people make when going for the Achilles is they're using the dull part of their arm. All right, so they're coming underneath and they're staying here rather than bringing the blade in. Okay, I'm going to go over some different grips as soon as I just go over this basic finish. But initially, we're going to go for the high Achilles, feet in the hip. I don't need two hands. That's a misconception as well. Okay, so generally what I'll do is I'll bring one hand in right across my lower abdomen. All right, and I'll grab right here. Like wherever my pants are, I'll grab right here. Okay, I bring my feet to the hip. The blade is going to be pointing up. My hand is going to start reaching over. All right, now as I reach over, I'm going to start to look over my shoulder. In order for him to get out of this, he needs to remove my feet from his hip. That's why I'm leaning in this position. Because if he does so, and I keep coming belly down, I still have the proper leverage in order to get this, all right? Now, right now, the dull part's in a little bit. I bring the blade up, I hip in, I get the top. Now, preferably, I want the feet to the hip, but belly down is a very, very strong position as well. And this is IBJJF legal. Anytime we have a straight ankle lock, if I roll to the outside, I can do this in IBJJF events. I can't roll towards him. All right, even if it's an Achilles lock and it's not twisting, I cannot roll this way. If I roll this way, that's illegal. Okay, so I can't roll in. I have to roll out. Okay, so if I'm starting in this position and my feet are in the hip, I like to bring one foot over the other. The blade is in, pinching my knees, rolling up here. Notice my hips right now, my hips are off the mat. Okay, my hips aren't on the mat. My hips are off the mat. All my weight is coming in. And the blade, as soon as that blade comes in, I'm getting that down. Now, what I'm effectively doing is this foot right here is staying in place underneath my armpit. All right? The blade of my arm is coming right underneath the calf, and I'm separating his leg, essentially. The leverage I have on his hip is going to be the same leverage I have if he removes and I go belly down. I just need some kind of force to be pressing into his leg. All right? If I don't have the feet in the hip, or if I'm not going belly down, it's just upward force to where all he has to do in this position is just start standing up. Okay? That's the problem. But when I'm here, for him to come up into me now, it's a little harder for him to do so, right? And I still have that lock. That's gonna be the first thing I just want you guys to take a look at. We're gonna get into some different grips in a second. Give it a try. All right, guys, so, let's be real. If we have proper technique plus size, we may have an advantage in finishing some techniques over someone who's smaller with not as much strength. Generally speaking, there's weight classes in jiu-jitsu, and generally speaking, there's certain things that are easier to get than others. No matter how big I am, may I see your foot? How much do you weigh?
170.
He weighs 170, right? I weigh right now about 235. But if you look at our feet, while my foot might be much bigger, my ankle is not that much bigger, okay? So the bone that I'm attacking is gonna be very similar no matter what size the person is. So that's why the leg lock is so prevalent nowadays in jiu-jitsu, because like I said, it's a great equalizer. So some people like me have thick legs. So to attack the high Achilles, it can be hard, okay? Because the higher we go, like we just went there, let me see your leg. In that last technique, I was right below the calf, but I want you to notice something. Again, I'm coming as far through as I can, okay? And the blade is in. But against a thick guy, that can be hard, okay? So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna adjust the grip as low as I possibly can go. Now, I want to get his toes underneath my armpit. Okay? When his toes are not underneath my armpit, his heel is touching my ribs. Okay? Now, the grip we're going to make on this is I'm going to bring my hand to my bicep, and my other hand is going to come across. Okay, so hand to the bicep, other hand to my tricep. All right, right in this position. Very similar to an steamer lock, right? But we're not in the steamer lock position. Even if he's not isolated here, the moment I apply pressure, all right, he's going to get caught. Okay? It's a very similar feel to a heel hook. I'm pulling his ankle up while his toes are staying caught. Okay, if I don't have his toes caught and I just stay here, it's still strong, but it doesn't have the same breaking power. But when I catch his toes, all right, and I come across, this is a very, very strong grip. And again, this is one of those things where I don't even need to have proper leg positioning in order to get this break. And I'm going to show you the leg positioning for this. But right now, we're just looking at the grip. So even if I'm standing, or if I'm on my knees, right, my partner's in this position here, we often see the esteem lock, okay? But to come in this position, right here is a little different. Boom. And once I have this, a lot of times people, they're not thinking much, but as soon as I start applying this, it gets very tight, okay? Also, start using your leg locks, start using the Achilles locks and hold to make people move, right? We're gonna get into that in a little bit. So just to finish this, let's say my partner is doing a very good job of not letting me get my feet to the hip, all right? Like, I can't get here. He's peeling my feet every time I go to come up. All right, it's getting really tough. He's too strong for me to underneath the calf. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lift this hand and I'm gonna pull his toes to my armpit. All right, once I do that, I'm gonna come right underneath the heel. All right, this is one of the positions to where my elbow is gonna not stay on the mat. Okay. Generally speaking, with heel hooks and stuff, we want to keep our elbows on the mat. What I need to do is I need to reach through to my bicep. So my elbow is going to start dropping. All right. Now, it gets so tight, I might not even be able to get here. Okay, but he'll feel this as soon as I put this in. It's over. Okay. Again, if I wanted to get this with the feet in the hip, it gets a little bit tougher. But same thing, I'm not staying on my elbow, all right? Generally speaking, with heel hooks, I'm staying on my elbow in this position. I'm not staying on my elbow. I'm grabbing. I'm dropping to my shoulder, coming in. Understand we can get this from many different positions. I want you to really focus on the grip. One more time with the grip. I want the toes to be directly under my armpit. All right. I want to come right underneath the heel across the Achilles. Now, as I do, I'm turning his foot up, grabbing my bicep, coming to this position, getting the submission. All right. Give that a try. Give that grip a try. All right, guys, so we're just going to go over the dynamics of a knee bar. So, in a lot of these things, between knee bar, Achilles, toe hold, there's so many different transitions and there's links between them where we can tie them together. And generally speaking, when we have one, we have another. Now, when we have an Achilles or knee bar, we always have a toe hold. Always. All right? We have an Achilles, we don't always have a knee bar. We have a knee bar, we don't always have an Achilles, but the toe hold is always there. But before we get into linking them together, let's go over the dynamics of a knee bar. So I said before, the Achilles, we don't necessarily need the knee line to be covered, right? We can hit the Achilles from above, standing, like in a steam lock. With the knee bar, we need to have the knee line covered, okay? Now, there's many different ways we could hit a knee bar. Generally speaking, okay, I want to have his leg covered. Now, it's basically up to you if you want to fall this way or that way. Now, I'm going to tell you why I'd rather fall into the leg than away from the leg. So if I'm looking for a knee bar, okay, and I end up on this position, how would I end up on this position? So let's just say my knee slices through. All right, he sits up, he gets that underhook, boom, I step back, I end up in this position. All right, there's one of many ways, but I don't want you to focus on how we're getting in position right now. We're just looking on the finishing dynamic. Many times we end up in this position that you can get here in many different ways. The reason why I don't want to fall this way is because he has this leg free, okay? He can step over, he can start rolling out, it gets tricky, okay? I always want to cover all bases. So if I'm in this position and I have this leg here, if I can control this leg as well, I want to do so. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to hug and I'm going to start falling towards the bottom leg. Right? Now, look what happens here. My hip is blocking his knee. His knee can't come through, all right, because my hip is on the mat. So what he can do is he could try to figure four. It's going to be hard for him to figure four his legs because I'm simply keeping this leg here. If he tries to pull this leg up to figure four, other leg, your bottom leg, I'm just going to block in this position, okay? Now, a lot of people will try to finish the knee bar right from here, which you can, it's not wrong, but to get it as tight as we possibly can, again, all I'm doing is I'm bringing my hand through. As I bring my hand through, I want to think about dropping this foot right on my lat. All right, 1, 2, on my lat. All right, now I just cover it. That's it. Anytime you're above the knee line, you're either attacking the LCL, the MCL, or the ACL, or the kneecap. Okay? The leg is going to get torn in this position. Now, what I want to make sure it doesn't happen is this leg pulling through. All right? So I'm keeping him trapped here. You could figure for your legs too. And when I figure for my legs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come right below his butt and figure four here. All right, not above, right below. So he's totally trapped in this position. Do you feel like you can really move around a lot?
Not a lot, no.
Pretty hard for him to move.
Yeah.
But if he were to start moving a lot, I could simply just start extending, and that's it. All right? But we need to be above the knee line. It's hard to tuck the foot to the other side because this body is already down. So to create the space in order to do so, anytime the foot is on this side is when we're generally digging for heel hooks and such. Okay? To get that knee bar, we're extending it here. Okay? If your partner somehow gets this knee in, all right, we still have the knee bar. It's just fine. All right? If he starts tucking it through and he starts finding this leg through, and he starts trying to, we can always pull this leg through, attack the other one as well. All right, he's giving you it. And again, how am I getting it from here? I'm tucking it to the outside, I'm figure fouring, and I have this right here. Now, real quick. The moment this knee line is lost, I no longer have the knee bar. All right, the knee bar is gone. So generally speaking, they're always going to try to take this foot and kick it on your butt, right? That's how they're escaping from the knee bar. That's why we want to sit in to the leg. If we fall in this position, my recommendation, all right, if you fall here, your partner could defend by bringing their foot to the butt, okay? Anytime you have their foot off the mat or their limb off the mat, it's hard for them to post to stand up. I fall in this position or I get in this position, all I'm gonna do is hold, sit up, fall to the other side. Simple as that, okay? Could we get it here? Yeah, we can. But it's much easier. Lift, post, throw it to your lap. Literally throw it to your lap. Once I'm here, I catch. Now again, to make it even tighter, right below his butt. Once I'm here, where's the kick to my butt? There's no escape anymore. Okay, there's literally no escape for him. He could try to start coming to his knees. All right, as he does, this is still so tight in this position. Okay, it's very hard for him to do much. I always like to cover the bottom leg. This way they can't kick. And again, the reason why he can't kick is because my foot, my hip is on the mat. There's no space for him to get his foot in. Okay? So we're always trying to do, no matter where we're at, is properly attack something while we're hiding our extremities and we're not allowing them to attack our own, while we're safe and while we're taking away any line of defense that they have. We don't want to shoot out. We basically want to walk up to them and catch them when they're not looking. And there's no defense. All right, give it a try. Okay, so many times when going for a submission or a leg submission or any kind of submission, the person's going to move. You probably, if you have my DVD, if you have this DVD, you've most likely followed me and you've seen me say before, I'm never going to get heel hooked. I'm never going to get leg locked. Well, there's two reasons for that. I believe most people are applying leg locks and heel hooks incorrectly. And number two, well, I have three reasons. Number two is I've had everything torn already, coming up, like growing up and playing sports, so it's pretty hard to tear what's already torn. And finally is I'm reacting immediately. The problem is most people, when they get caught, they're getting caught in submissions because they're not reacting. You have to think about this. Every grip your opponent makes on you, every move they make, they're doing so with purpose. We have to address that. We can't allow someone to grab us, I don't care where it is, and us not regrip, us not do something in return, to be more offensive than they were. If we allow people to just grip and grip and grip, well, eventually we're going to find ourselves, in a hole where we can't get out and we're tapping right away. And I see so often in leg locks, people get caught and they kind of just freeze and they wait and their hand comes up here and then they're just waiting to tap essentially. A good guy or a good girl is immediately going to start moving, okay? So we have to have a counter, just like in stand-up fighting, it's not always the first punch, second punch is going to land. Sometimes the third. Like I remember when I was fighting MMA, my jab I would just flick it out there just to make someone move. My red cross would get their head off, and then my hook would be the one that I would really try to land. In jiu-jitsu, sometimes, of course, if we could get this initial break, that's essential, but it's not always going to happen. Okay, especially with an Achilles. If we don't break the leg, many times at a high level, especially, people are not going to tap. Okay, they just don't want to tap. I'm one of those guys. I don't like to tap. It's just not something I enjoy doing, But that's why we have to have it so tight and so brutal to where if they don't tap, it's breaking. Okay, we're not looking to break legs. We're not looking to hurt people. But essentially, a proper submission is either going to put someone unconscious or break a limb, right? If they don't tap. It's their choice. So when I'm in this position here, me personally, the first thing that I try to do if I'm in this position is turn his knee out. I turn his knee out, whether I'm going for a heel hook, an Achilles, no matter what it be, I always turn the knee out by just taking my top leg and pressing it down and pulling this leg in. All right, so now I'm crushing his leg and his knee is turned out. If I were him, what I would do is I would post my far foot, my right foot, okay, pull my butt away and turn this way. Exactly, okay? So now, when I'm in this position, what I like to do with this hand, all right, before I'm actually posting and getting the submission, is stay above his knee line to really have a good grip. And this tendon right here, I'll make a hold on the tendon. This way it's a little harder for him to pull his leg out. If he goes to pull his leg out now, it's harder for him to do so. However, he might be able to turn his knee. So twisting is much easier than pulling, okay? So while he might not be able to pull his knee line out, he may be able to turn his knee totally towards me. All right, now as he does so, the Achilles is no longer there. However, we do have a knee bar. All right, most people from here, they don't see the knee bar, okay? All we're gonna do in this position, lift the leg, bring my hand in, right here, okay? Now, this is particularly tough for him because the position I'm in now is gonna blow out his LCL. All right, this is not, like everybody thinks a knee bar is just bending this way. Knee bar can be to any side. All right, so when I have him here, and notice I bring it I don't want it on my tricep, I want it all the way past my shoulder. Now I hug. When I have him here, if I hip in here, I'm gonna totally destroy his leg. There's no extension from here. There's no flexibility from this position. From this position, it could flex, it could hyperextend. There's no hyperextension from here. So when I hip in here, his LCL is going to explode. So be careful who you're doing this against, right? Now, if I don't want to blow out their LCL, maybe I'm in training and I get to this position, just know that you will get a scream tap from there. You'll break their leg in half. Be very careful. How am I going to go for a safer knee bar? All right, I'm going to get belly down. All right, so what I want to do is while I keep this position, I'm going to start coming up to my elbow. Okay, now, as I pull this knee out, I'm controlling him totally here. Okay? All I'm going to do, head's going to come down. I'm going to extend in while I get him here. Now, I'm doing this for him, not for me. This is for him. Because once I have him in the Achilles, all right, and he posts his foot and he turns his leg in, okay, and I have him caught here. People start cranking from here. No, just tuck it. Boom. He's not pulling his leg out anywhere now. Or he's not going anywhere. 1, I have this extension. All right, 2, I gotta come to my elbow, watch closely. I come up to my elbow, I keep this caught. This leg is gonna tuck underneath his butt. Okay? I could figure 4. Head is down. I extend in, or I'm coming up. Notice the entire time, I'm above the knee line. Okay? This here is much safer in a training environment. Okay? You have to really, really stay with the leg. So if I have him here, and he turns his leg, and he starts rolling, now, from this position, instead of tucking the hand here, I'm tucking the hand here. The leg here, rather. Now, I adjust. I have this leg. This knee bar is very, very tight. Extending, pulling back. How did that come about? Again, I get to this position. I'm controlling, okay? My partner not only turns his leg, but he starts to roll. As he does, I'm simply tucking in this position. All right? Notice that I'm not pulling anything with my hands for the knee bar. All I'm doing is I'm extending my legs while I'm dropping this elbow low, getting the submission. Okay? So we have the first one where he just turns his knee in. All right? He's in this position here. All right? All I'm going to do is lift and tuck. I have the knee bar that's going to explode his LCL. I come up to my elbow, tuck the foot, head down, have this knee bar here. Back to this position. He rolls. As he rolls, I'm tucking. All right? I let him go all the way through, adjusting my body, getting this position right here. Boom, it's right there. Give this a look, guys. Okay, so now, since from the knee bar and the Achilles, I said the toe hold is always there. Let's show the dynamics of a toe hold. Man, the toe hold is one of those things like, people don't like to tap from it, but once the toe stops bending, once the foot stops bending, we know the submission's there, okay? And yeah, a lot of people go for the toe hold wrong. So just get on your side real quick. Let me just explain to you real quick. Most people, they grab right along the side of the foot, okay? They come here, kind of roll into me a little bit, okay? And they start trying to finish this way. You hear people say you can only finish a toe hold if the knee is bent. They're wrong, golly, call them morons, but that's not nice, but they're wrong, okay? You can finish it straight. With the toe, what you want to do is you want to cover the 3 toes right here. So I'm always catching the toes, all right? Now, once I'm catching the toes, I'm coming through, and what I want to think about doing is touching the toes to the calf. Not to the butt, I want to touch the toes to the calf. So, let's just say I'm in this position here, and I get to this position, even if his leg is straight. Generally speaking, it's hard to finish a toe when the leg is above our head because of the leverage. Look, if I'm here, I have nothing. When I'm on the toes and I'm bringing the toes to the calf, it's much tighter. I had one of my black belts in a toe hold one time, and it was just slow and steady pressure that I was applying, you know, and it wouldn't give anymore and it wouldn't tap. Finally, the toes just, you heard it snap and the toes hit the calf, right? It just broke in half. Thankfully, I don't know, he was just bruised up and swelled, but he was okay in a few weeks. But no matter where you're at, we're always catching in this position here. There's a huge difference between on top of the toes to the side of the foot, whichever one does. On the side of the foot, it's almost like a dislocation. We're on the side of the foot, we're trying to pull the foot apart. We're on top of the toes, I'm breaking the foot in half. Okay, same thing if he went to roll. Also, look, this foot is slowing him down as well. So he rolls, I have this foot controlled. Okay, do I have the toe hold still? Absolutely. Okay, I have the toe hold still, right here. Now, I know I said I like the knee bar, okay, when we're controlling the bottom leg, but I also just want you to see that from here, we have a knee bar as well. Now, I could always start turning in. I have an Achilles as well. All right, everything is linking together. In order to get the toe hold, however, I need to be belly down. All right, I can't get the toe hold when my belly is up. So in this position, there's no toe hold. All right, let's say I'm digging for an Achilles and I'm not able to get it. I'm looking for a knee bar, I'm not able to get it. All right, we need to go belly down. All right, once I'm belly down, from this position, even from here, I have a toe hold. And notice how I'm literally just pulling him up. That simple. 1, 2. Most people wouldn't think there's a toe hold from this position. Look, toes are going to come down. Right here, it gets very, very tight, very, very quick. All right. From here, there's a knee bar, also attacking the LCL again. So I don't even need to cover the knee. I can come to this position here. Okay, I'm attacking down. This is, you can see like it's just a brutal, brutal break. Okay, from this position, I have that knee bar. Anytime he goes to pull this in to try to push this off to escape, he's also giving me something else. All right, he's giving me something else. So he pushes that in, he's giving me that top foot. What would make sense to attack with the top foot? Remember the Achilles I showed before, that was very tight, the very short Achilles. From here, I come through. If I can't grab my bicep, come right to this position, finish. All right, come right back through here. I have the toe hold. I have the knee bar. Okay, every single thing is linking together. But the toe hold, your chances are going to improve much greater if you attack the top 3 toes. Okay? My body real quick. Even if he's in his guard and he's laying down, okay? Very similar to the esteem lock, right? When I come to this position, the hand's covering the top 3 toes. Okay? Actually, a few weeks ago, I caught this. I came through. I grabbed right to this position. I just came down right here. Okay? To me, this was a toe hold. Partner's in front of me. Boom. Boom. For him to get out of this in this position, it's very difficult. You know, he could roll. He could start moving. Again, I have this the entire time. Now he's opening up other things. But the premise is always the same. Top 3. All right? Top 3. Not pushing on the foot. Top 3 is covered. Pulling the top 3 down. Okay? Give it a try. Okay, so now let's start taking a look at some different positions we can attack these techniques with. Okay? Anytime you're on the top, like what makes a good leg locker is the ability to guard pass. But I also feel what makes a good guard passer is the ability to leg lock. You know, making people question, like never allowing them to stay comfortable. Anytime their legs are out, show that we're going to look for them. I have a rule basically, like in most competitions that I do, especially points, if I'm on top, I like to stay on top. I don't like to sit back for legs. However, there's certain rule sets like ADCC, submission only, like to where if you sit back for legs, it's not going to hurt you. Okay, IBJJF it will. In a self-defense situation, if you're on top, I would recommend staying on top unless you're going against somebody who doesn't know legs whatsoever. But you also have to understand, like in the street, going for legs, like you're guaranteed a lawsuit, right? You're going to break the guy's leg. And sometimes you have to. It is what it is. Preferably, if I can get out of a situation without having to, go through court and sit through a lawsuit because I broke someone's leg, I would rather do so, However, different strokes for different folks, different goals, and the know-how and knowing what's there is imperative. So let's just take a look at some of the things we can do if our partner is playing the bottom half guard, okay? So, our partner is playing the bottom half guard. They're keeping this knee shield here. And we just can't get by it. It's a huge problem, okay? So, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come over and I'm just gonna grab his thigh right in this position, all right? The moment I do, this knee is gonna slide in and my foot is gonna step up, all right? As soon as I do, as I fall back, my knee from the mat is gonna come to the far hip. Now I come right to this position here, all right? Now, once I'm here, my foot comes to the hip. Now, what do I have from this position? Me personally, I would feel best going for a knee bar. Most people are gonna start looking for heel hooks from this position. How do we get the knee bar from this position? All right, 1, here, 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 all right? Now, there's really no line of defense for my partner. This hand is free to where I can control his far foot, all right? All I do is hip in. I have it. He goes to roll. I have this far foot controlled, okay? He can roll as much as he wants. I still have this here, okay? And all I have to do is hip in. So while most people see heel hooks from this position, I feel this knee bar has a little bit more control. Okay, let's look at it again. Partner's in the half guard. I loop through. I slide in. Basically, you could jump into it. Like you could just pop your legs up, fall back. All right, my foot comes to the hip. Now again, what am I doing to get here? You can take this foot as well and make your X so your partner can't face you totally, okay? All I'm gonna do is this hand is gonna come out, push to the other side, catch, all right? Once you do, pull the leg out, figure 4. Guys, this is a really, really tough spot for your partner, all right? My hips are above his knee line. I could use this foot on his body to help pull myself up. I have this control of his far leg to where if he rolls, I have this here, and it gets even tighter. Now. What I want you to see is how easy it is to switch to that position. there's also back exposure from there. Okay? Many times we go for the heel hook, our partner can start spinning out, they can start rolling out. I want to put them in a position to where it paralyzes them. You know, they cannot really get out, they cannot really move. All right, once they're there, and there's no way out. You know, I feel for me personally, if someone tries to be offensive with me, it makes things very, very easy. And like, I never go into a match, oh man, this guy's going to be too offensive, or his cardio is going to be too good. No, my only worry is going into a match is the guy's going to do nothing, right? So when they do nothing, sometimes it's hard to get to a certain position. But I feel if they do something, as long as they do something, we can put them in a position to where they can do nothing again. All right, so what I mean by that is, doing nothing when we're doing nothing sucks, right? But if they aggress us and they start trying to move, when we get them in a position where we can be offensive and they can do nothing back, that's essentially where we want to be, okay? So he's giving us this leg, okay? And here I pop up into it. This far leg has to step up. I fall back. He comes to this position, look, I tuck immediately. Some of you guys are gonna get confused from here. You're gonna say, where's the knee bar? I don't see a knee bar from this position, okay? All you're gonna do, lift the leg, all right? As you lift the leg, you're gonna tuck. As you tuck, you're gonna figure four. All right, so his back is facing us. We have this here, we have the lock. All right, he goes to kick back. We control it. I still have the knee bar from this position. Give this a try, my friends.